you you can do what you like from there. And some of what I say will also be addressing the people who are watching in the future.
What is the time frame for the call?
Yes, that was my first logistic. I realized that I did not put a time frame on. So who can stay for 1 hour? Who can stay for 1.5 hours? Okay, who can stay for 2 hours? Okay, 1.5 hours it will be. And if anyone discovers they need to leave before that, go ahead and you can always watch what you missed. All right, thank you. The next thing I want to do is to ask you to, if you haven't already got some kind of writing utensils, you will need some kind of writing utensils. And my invitation is for you not to use digital writing utensils, to use a pen or pencil and paper. And this is part of making things just in the worlds that we create more real, less digital, more real, and as an experiment. And if you really don't want to do that as the experiment, you can choose for yourself and say, screw that, I'm gonna do digital note taking. And can you also show me by raising your hand or by kind of going like this in your window? You see how can you make it into an amount indicator? How much familiarity you have with possibility management. Cool. Cool. Okay, great. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, possibility management is for those of you less familiar, or maybe I didn't see anyone like not have their hand, but possibility management is what I would call a game world. It's also a kind of massive collection of distinctions, tools, maps, processes that are all about empowering transformation and empowering evolution for individuals, for couples, for groups of people, for communities. One of the kind of missions of possibility management and the originator of possibility management is to pretty much cause evolution and to help Gaia's risky human experiment to succeed. Gaia being the earth, not just as a physical object, but as an alive entity. And I use possibility management in the work that I do. And I am Nicole Hartley Bradford. I am a transformational experiment creator and catalyst. And I take a stand especially to empower single mothers to be empowered to create village for themselves and to help source what Gaia kind of brings through to the world through all women, but especially single mothers, because they have this lived experience of what it is to be a conduit, a crucible through which life emerges. And I am a single mother. I've been a mother for 30 years. I was single for all but about 11 years of that. And this experience of being a single mother has been my crucible. I have gone through hell as a single mother. I have watched the consequences of my own trauma and wounding be passed on to my children. I have experienced devastating aloneness while I had the responsibility of 4 lives. And this absence of village. And the absence showed up also as an absence of financial power. It just so happened that for me, the fathers of my children, either unconsciously or consciously, had chosen not to pay me for raising our children. And I'm not saying that that was bad or wrong. I'm just saying that's how it was. And what it gave me was a kind of a type of choicelessness, so that what I ended up being able to choose from was to figure things out myself around money and resources and creation. And it took me a really long time. And so now I have this burning passion for bringing what I learned to others, especially single mothers. Of course, you don't have to be a single mother to benefit from the experience that I gained through my like very challenging journey. Everybody's journey is challenging, and I don't compare, because it doesn't make sense for me to compare, because it just doesn't make sense. So about just over a year ago, I encountered possibility management in my search for more tools, more distinctions, more spaces to go to for transformation. And one of the things that happened was that I had a process with Anne-Chloe Destremo, who is Clinton Callahan's partner and Game World Catalyst. And it was in the process, what happened was I relocated the source of of abundance in my life, the source of really everything in my life, into myself. I became the source of creation for my life. And things started to change so quickly, really. I started to create offerings and invite people to them and have people show up. And I also started to more clearly be able to recognize the value of my experience in this scarcity kind of state for so long. And all of it added up to this offering that I called Money Club. Have people here been to possibility management, rage, and fear clubs at all? Yeah. Yeah. So I see Money Club as quite similar to Rage and Fear Club, in that most people, when they first hear that there's a Rage Club or a Fear Club, they're either like, I mean, with Rage Club, it's like, yeah, I want to go get my rage on. Other people are like, I don't need more rage in my life. No, thank you. Some people about Fear Club are just like, what? There's a club about fear. Why would we have that? We don't want fear. We're not going for fear. But both of these clubs are about using the energy and power and the information of our conscious rage and fear to create our lives, to live responsibly, and to live full out. And Money Club, I see as a bit similar. Like, some people are like, money, like, who needs that fucking stuff? Or I got money, why do I need a money club? And so again, though, it's really about money as one kind of currency, one kind of thing that we can use to flow power, to receive power, and to grow and build the lives that we want and the world that we want. So the context of Money Club is in the bright principles of clarity, inspiration, creation, radical responsibility, evolution, winning happening, teamwork, and high-level fun. And that's a lot. I get it. And I think it's like none of it can be left out, as far as I can tell, because it takes all that. I'm just reading Christina's message. Ah, okay. She's going to turn off her camera. Two of the other elements that are really, really, I find are super important when it comes to creation are Gaia, because the earth and the earth as a morphogenetic field, just I found that when I'm not honoring the being, the meta being that I'm part of, something happens to in regard to my ability to create with integrity. I wish this was the case for more people. And I think that this is part of evolution right now. And the other is echo. And I mentioned earlier when I was telling the story about how I ended up in Calgary again. Echo is the Earth's coincidence control office. And you each can decide who works in the Earth's coincidence control office, whether it's angels or God or the Greek pantheon, or or some like fairy beings. You can decide for yourself. What I can say is my experience of echo is that as I begin to more fully live as the being that maybe I was created to be, I somehow make myself interesting to echo, and echo arranges all kinds of coincidences or synchronicities, and these can kind of become part of the high level fun, and also part of the legend making that becomes possible when we really use the tools that that are available to create possibilities, kill possibilities, create teams, and really make winning happening in our teams. So there is a website for Money Club, and first I'll share my personal website in the chat just so people can have it and that I'm not leaving it all for the end. So that's my personal website. And then there's also a Money Club website that is part of the possibility management, has been kind of translated into a massive multiplayer on and offline game called Start Over XYZ. And this game is basically comprised of about 450 websites that are all about different distinctions, processes, tools, maps. And a lot of the websites have experiments on them that you can do that really expand you out of the limitations that we all have, and build your conscious awareness so that you can be more empowered to create and do do what you're here for. I'm also going to put in the chat, this is a link to the Telegram group for people who want to be in Money Club, want to join Money Club, hold space for Money Club, practice Money Club experiments in their own lives, and just have somewhere where they can connect and create and share and maybe get possibilities, just to make a team. So you're here, so you are on the Money Club team. If you never participate again, no problem. If you participate every day for the rest of your lives, no problem. Welcome. And I'm going to add one more resource too, just so I can get this kind of logistically out of the way, which is to give you the link to the Become Money website. So again, this is part of the Start Over XYZ bubble map. They're all My Strikingly sites. And this was such a huge resource for me when I was starting to build my momentum and build my understanding, and when I started to do more experiments about what could I do differently that would produce different results for me around money. Money Club started in about, I don't know, February or March, not long ago. And it started with just a small group of people that I invited to come together to experiment with me and to share just my kind of good news of like, wow, something entirely different is possible. And we had so much fun. And we developed some customs. And that's what I would like to do with you now, is to kind of, yeah, kind of revive Money Club by doing it again with you. Is everyone up for that? Cool. Before I start, I I don't want to like I don't want to get it. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. And I want you to ask questions. And I also want to, a lot of what will happen will probably answer some of the questions. So if you have a question, can you write it in the chat and I will like fold it in? And also, what else? I think we can just go. All right. So this is what Money Club is like, kind of, sort of, sometimes. It's different every time and it's kind of similar every time. But it inevitably starts with, we get into what we call first position. And in order to do that, and please follow along, it can be great to close your eyes. If you would like to, go ahead and close your eyes. You can also practice having your eyes open. And just notice your physical body. Maybe scan it from head to toe. Just noticing. And as you notice, your body might want to move or shift. You might end up taking a big breath. Just notice the sensations that are happening in your physical body and just really say hello. And next, I invite you to notice where your attention is. Maybe there are like threads from where you've had your attention in the last little while. Maybe there are threads about the future or the past, and maybe about other people. Maybe a lot of your energetic attention is in your head. And if it is, I invite you to just draw it down into the part of your physical body that is between your hips, into about a grapefruit sized space that's between your hips. And just keep drawing your attention and your energy, because your energy goes where your attention goes, down into this part of yourself, the center of your physical body. And as you do this, you become ever more centered. And this is something you can stop and do anytime, anywhere. Next, I invite you to use a snap of your fingers or a tap on your leg and a little bit of conscious anger to declare that you have a grounding cord that connects your energetic and physical center to the center of the earth. Go. And now, with your energetic eyes, would you look at that grounding cord and notice what color it is? Just say the color out loud.
Violet.
Thank you. And next, you can use your clicker, a snap of your finger, or a tap on your leg again to declare that you have a bubble of space, a bubble around you that delineates your personal space. Just snap that into reality. And now with your energetic senses, your eyes, and maybe your hands, maybe you can even use your physical hands, just check out your bubble. Feel the inside of it. You can reach outside and feel the outside of it. Just notice it so that you have it more clearly as an energetic distinction, that you have a personal bubble of space. You can play with bringing it closer to your body or having it expand further out, and put it where you want it. Yeah. So this is how it is to be centered, grounded, and bubbled. Anyone who has already initiated your gremlin, you can also make sure that your gremlin is sitting on your left side and is on their leash. Your gremlin is a source of nonlinear possibility. You can also hold in your right hand, if you're right-handed, your sword of clarity, an energetic distinction again that reminds you that you can use your clarity to make distinctions, to ask questions, to choose, and to declare things. And the one last thing I'll invite you to do is that each of you, believe it or not, or whether you knew it or not, has on your belt a bag of things. And in that bag, you can reach into that bag and pull out a golden pearl. This golden pearl contains a condensed version of your essence and energy. And when you put that golden pearl into your bubble above your head and let gravity have it kind of float down, down, down through the core of you until it hits your energetic center, where it bursts open and starts to fill your bubble with your energy, your essence, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, and it pushes out anything that does not belong to you. Outside of your bubble of space is the whole rest of the world, but inside is yours. Thank you. I invite you to open your eyes without leaving your inner orientation. Just start to include the outer world again without losing what's in you, and come back to the screen. It is one of the customs of Money Club to share our money stories. And this can be pretty personal. My money story, or at least one version of it, is written up on the Money Club website. And there's also the money story of Brianne Valancourt. She was a big part of Money Club in its earlier development. She held space with me several times as I was really starting to get clearer and clearer about how Money Club could go. And there are many experiments around you telling and using our money stories, which are basically what I mean when I say money story, is that this is the story of our life about money. And what I'd like to do is to put us into breakout rooms with just with two people. And what your mm, what your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to tell your money story. Just there's no wrong way to do this. Tell the story of how it's been for you as a human being who grew up in modern culture where money is a pretty big deal. Maybe you grew up in a family that had low income or high income, somewhere in between. Maybe you had certain ideas and attitudes about money. You can share about some of the things that you remember about money in your life, about earning it, spending it, losing it, winning it, having it stolen from you, anything like that. And I'll give you each 3 minutes, so it's not very long. And it doesn't matter if you don't tell the whole story. It's mostly just an experiment in telling it. And then after 3 minutes, I'll send a message that says to change partners. And then the other person can speak. And the person listening, your job is to just hold space, just to receive the story. And also notice what comes up in you as you hear it, but not to give feedback or make comments or turn it into a discussion or a conversation. Are there any questions about this? All right. Have fun telling your money stories. So for the recording, I will tell my money story for a while. Mm, I was born into a family of teachers. My parents were both teachers, and they made decent salaries. But the message I got growing up was that we couldn't afford things, or at least we couldn't afford things that I wanted. That's what I remember. And and yet we had always had a really big workable house, and I always had the things I needed, and a lot of the things I wanted. I had dance classes, and I got to be on soccer teams, and one of the things that my parents invested in a lot was travel. We camped, we went north, east, west, south on big long road trips from my hometown in the Rockies of Canada. And we went overseas many times. The first time I was only a year old. We went I mean, my parents had holidays from school, from their work. So we used the holidays to travel. And I I got an allowance, and it wasn't what I thought it should be. And we got money for treats on Saturdays, so we could go up to the corner store and buy some junk food, which we didn't really get during the week at all. My mom was a big healthy food person. And money just always seemed to be something other people had and that I didn't have. And when I became a teenager and was old enough to work, I started babysitting, and I really wanted to get a job so that I would have money. And my parents said no, my job was to do well at school. And we didn't really ever talk about it, but what was inferred was that if I did well in school, I would be able to get a good job when I was a grown up. And the trouble was that I didn't know what I wanted to be. Hello, Laura.
There was no one there. I was by myself in the first room.
Oh, oh, it looks like Christina dropped out. She was
Oh,
having
okay.
she was having Wi-Fi troubles. I was just telling my money story, and I have how many minutes? Oh, I only have like 20 seconds left. But you could always listen to it or read it, and then you could tell me your money story. Is that okay if it's recorded?
That's perfect. Yes.
Are you okay if it's recorded?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. This is great. I mean, people can read my money story in a few different places. Okay, so there's the timer. I'm just going to send the message to please switch partners. Okay. All right, then I'll start the timer again. Go ahead, Laura.
Right. So my story around money, I definitely have a story. I think everyone has one. It's very closely connected to fighting in my family. So my and there's many things that I remember my parents and also my grandma. She used to say, money, you have to put the money between the people or something. Like it's a German saying, das Geld muss unter die Leute. So the money needs to go, like it needs to be around the people. You kind of need to spend it. My dad just recently, like literally a few days ago, said, ohne Moos nichts los. There are all those German sayings, like it's basically saying without money, nothing is happening. And I did actually the last 10 years I did live with just kind of like enough, but I was always possible, whatever I wanted to do, to like kind of get that money for that somehow. Like it was always possible. But I still to this day always feel like I don't have enough. And now I'm in quite some depth actually. So it's a very interesting time. And I've done a lot of money mindset work on that. So yeah, to kind of sum it up, it's for me, it was connected about fighting. My parents were fighting about money. My mom was always scared up until this day. She's very scared. For her, it's safety. For her, money is safety. And I learned that it's not it's not that. Like, I don't believe in that anymore, but I used to believe in that. And now I see it more as like kind of, it's a resource. I see it as energy also that kind of helps me to really live the life that I want to live. And
We have one more minute.
Nice.
Tell me about like things you've done to make money and any stories about what happened.
Kind of jobs. Like, so I used to work in this on this farmers, I like on a farmer's field here in the village where I grew up. I'm back here now, and being back here brings a lot of old things up actually. And then I started studying, and I got money from the government for studying, so they borrowed me money, so I owe them. Then I got another loan, student loan, to kind of live off that. Then I always had jobs on the side. I used to work in an IT company in marketing next to my studies. And then I started, I didn't really like being in front of my computer all the time. And then I started doing promotion work for different brands to kind of like have a little like pop-up events whatsoever. I went and work on a lot of exhibitions for a lot of car companies here in Germany. I worked for like all the big brands, VW, Mercedes, whatsoever. Then I went to Red Bull. I was working festivals, which was a really fun job, being around like other people. We were able to drink alcohol behind the bar. It was all fun and all crazy, but it was all very physically exhausting actually. Like all
People
of
are
it.
gonna start coming back in soon, just so you know.
Perfect.
But keep going, yeah.
Yeah, it was all very physically exhausting, and I'm still having trouble believing or really knowing that money is allowed to flow easily. So I still have this in me that I think I have to work hard. I have to work hard for money, like really hard, and I have to go somewhere and I have to do something. And like also I have to do something that I don't like in order to earn money. It's a big one for me.
Wow. Thank
Mm.
you. I'm gonna admit someone who's late into our room just to loop them in, and then the rest will be coming in about half a minute.
Okay.
Hello, Julie.
Hey.
Oh, quicker than I thought. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Nicole.
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome, Corey. Next, what I'd like you to do is to each take your writing utensils and just write for 2 minutes. Write about what it was like to tell your money story, maybe to a complete stranger, and also what it was like to hear someone else tell their money story. And this is an opportunity for radical honesty with yourself. Go. That's 2 minutes. Thank you. Often in Money Club, we don't tell our stories in breakout rooms. We take some time at the beginning of the club to. The custom has been that newcomers get to tell their story for 4 minutes, and then the old timers, anyone who's been at least once before, tells their story for 2 minutes, and that's a way that people can get to know each other and practice being honest with each other about something that is in our culture very taboo. And as people come week after week after week, we tell our stories again. So everyone has 2 minutes at the beginning to tell their money story. And then what we shift into is how things are now. And so that's what I'd like to do now, is give you all this time 3 minutes to write about this question. And the question is what are you able to do because of money in your life as it is right now? And what are you not able to do because of money in your life right now? So what you can do is just draw a line down the page and say can and can't, and just start filling in on each side bullet points about what you can and cannot do because money. Go. Okay, that's 3 minutes. Thank you. One of the things that really sets possibility management distinctions and tools and processes apart from so much other work that I have been involved in, and I've been one of those searcher type people since I was a teenager, reading books and uh, taking courses and classes and workshops and doing my own experiments in holding space for people to learn and experiment together is is the is the part of it that's about conscious feelings work. This is where rage clubs and fear clubs come from. And certainly I've discovered that in regard to becoming a creator and creating offerings that make it possible for money to come my way, using my feelings consciously to take action and to sometimes not take action has been absolutely essential. And also using my emotions as gateways for healing has also been incredibly essential. The process I described earlier that I had with Anne Chloe was one where I screamed and cried and raged and sobbed and went so still with during different parts of this process. It was very messy and very it changed so much for me. I hold space for emotional healing processes, so that's something that I offer to Money Club participants, is the opportunity to book in with me to have a personal emotional healing process. And for people who are part of Money Club, that's one of the ways that I can flow power. So I can hold space to empower someone else's transformation, then they can flow power to me. And because we're connected in the context of Money Club, it doesn't always have to be to do with dollars or euros. It can be some other kind of trade. And one of the ways that I determine what I can and can't receive, or want to and don't want to receive in trade, is to have clarity from my anger that tells me what my boundaries are and helps me take a stand for my own boundaries. And I also use my fear and my sadness and my joy and my anger to create for myself a wish list. So I ongoingly have this wish list, and it's a little bit like a shopping list, but it's not just for things that I could buy at a store. And speaking of buying things at a store, one of the things that it's possible to empower in Money Club is alternatives to engaging in capital consumerism. So, for example, when I was staying at Servivo and I had, some clothes that I'd been packing with me were in rough shape. They were all black or gray or green, and I wanted to. So on my wish list came this whole thing about finding some clothing that I could wear that really turned me on to wear, that really lit me up. And at Servivo, they have, like in many intentional communities, a little area where people put the clothes that they're not wearing anymore. And so I was able to go to this part of the building and go through some clothes, and I got some pants and a blouse that are some of my favorites. So this is an example of not needing to use cash to get what's on my wish list. Now, some of the things that you might have written down on the cannot part of the last written experiment might have to do with things that are on your wish list. So the next experiment that I invite you to do is to write at the top of a fresh page, my wish list. And then draw some lines or circles that divide that into sections. And in one of those sections, write things. In another, write skills. In another, write responsibilities. Somewhere else on the page, put body. Somewhere else, put community. Somewhere else, you can write family. And somewhere else, write my soul's work. And then for the next 3 minutes, just fill in some wish list items. They can be products, services, objects, tools, energetic tools, anything that comes to mind. about things that you want to call in to your life. Go. All right, you can always add to that later, and you can always rewrite your wish list, maybe every week or 2 weeks. And I'd love to hear, did anybody write down things that surprised them? I did. Yeah. And so what can also happen in money clubs is that we can share our wish list with each other. We can share 1 or 2 items from it. We can share the whole thing. And then what becomes possible from there is that we can ask each other for possibilities about how we could grant ourselves or be empowered to have these wishes granted. So I'd like everyone to have a chance to do that. So what I'll do is I'm going to make breakout rooms with with less people in each one, or with more people in each one, I mean, than before. And Julie, can you stay in here with me? And the people who aren't on their videos are also not included in this. So you'll be in the main room, and you can participate or not, because this will be the room that the recording records. So when you go into your rooms, could each person take 2 minutes to share about their wish list and ask for possibilities? So maybe 30 seconds to share and ask for a possibility, and then have the other people not like rescue you or solve your problem or find the solution, but give possibilities about where the person could different things the person could do or consider when it comes to having something on their wish list come into their life. Are there any questions about that? Okay, so about 30 seconds to share what's on your wish list, ask for possibilities, people speak the possibilities, and then I will send a message when it's time to go to the next person. Go ahead.
So this is still recorded. So we are still recorded right now.
Yes, and I can pause the recording if you prefer.
Yeah, would be nice.
Okay, I'll pause it. Thank you. Who would like to share something? I want to give people a chance to share anything you want to say about that last breakout room, about any of the other experiments we've done together.
It should have been a little bit longer, because always when it get interesting, it was over.
Yes. Yes. I left you wanting more. Great.
Well done. I like to share something. I was really touched by the first experiment we did when we shared our money stories. I was really touched that I got conscious about, while I was listening, how much emotions do I suppress, and that I got really touched to hear the other one speaking about his story, and that made me recognize about my story and being intimate about these emotions to another person. That was really touching. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and in the second experiment, I wrote down some really nice possibilities and got clarity. Yeah, about. Yeah, maybe, yeah. I'm afraid to take too much time to go more into detail now. So I would like the others to have the chance.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susanne. And I would also love to share something, especially the second experiment that we did with what are we able to do because of money and what are we not, what we can't do. And I realized that I realized that I don't allow myself to do the things that I would like to do. Like, I mean, I take money as an excuse for, like, oh, I don't have money, so I can't relax. Yeah. It was like, I actually wrote down, I can't just travel, or actually I can't go on holiday because I don't have money. Like, I can't take time off. And then that was actually, it made me quite sad, actually. So that touched me, to have this realization that it's me who's holding myself back. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I really felt a shift today from doing I think it was the second experiment with the can and can't list. And when we shifted the things from the can't list to the wishing list, I really felt the shift of, yeah, that's possible. I can wish for that, and then it can happen. So do you understand me? Yeah. So like possibilities popped up for me because I changed I changed my perspective of, yeah. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have something they want to share?
Yeah, it was interesting that the shorter the time is, the more you bring up important things without thinking, because I always think a lot about things and then say them. And with looking to the time, I was just speaking. And I also get much, especially in the last experiment, I get a lot of great possibilities in a very short time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me it was very relieving to share actually my money story. And I was telling it, but it didn't felt as my story at all. It was just a story. And the story changed also in like phases over time. And yeah, it was very good in this realization to share this. So thank you for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to shift into the next piece because this is my favorite. And one of the things that we do during Money Club is, as I've mentioned, we take some time, we make some time to flow power. So this is a time where we usually we'll set 10 minutes. And here is your challenge if you choose to accept it. Pick up your phone, pick up your checkbook, or log into your bank account, or start with a blank piece of paper and just write down. There might be bills that you haven't paid, or there might be loans that you owe people, or there might be money that people owe to you that you could remind them about. You could call in payment on something outstanding. You might have a book that you've been wanting to give to a friend of yours, or you might have, too many clothes in your closet. And in the next 10 minutes, the invitation is to flow power, to pull resources that you have and flow them to someone else, and also to call in resources that others have. You might share your wish list on your social media wall. You might use the 10 minutes to tell 3 friends about Money Club and invite them to join. Same time next week, right here. Anyone else would be welcome. You might even, if you wanted to, you might want to send me a message saying, I would like to give you 10 euros or $500 to continue the work you do. Please let me know your banking information. anything you want for the next 10 minutes. Are there any questions? Go. Oh,
Nicole, is it especially about like any payments that we want to make or want to receive?
yeah.
Okay.
It can be about money out or money in, and it can be about anything.
Yeah.
You could
Thank you.
even write 3 notes of appreciation, because appreciation is currency. It's power. It's energy. Okay, there's one more minute. Make it count. Okay. How was it to flow power? Is it something, does anyone want to do that more often? Yeah. We only have a couple of more minutes to honor this time. But what I want to end with is just thank you so much for coming and checking out what Money Club is about. And you, as I said, you're all invited to come back next week at the same time on the same Zoom. And it will be similar. And it will never be the same. It will be so different also. I also welcome you to send me any questions, or you can set up a call with me too if you want, about, so that we can talk more about, you know, what worked for you, what would work better, what you want to try. And another thing that I'll just put in the space is that in the ways that I see Rage Club and Fear Club spreading, while more people become space holders to do what I did here today, just to be the one who says, here's the time, here's the space. How that happened was I had one person who was like, I want to get on a call. And so I said, what time would work for you? And we built this whole group around that time that worked for both of us. And some people couldn't make it, so I built something else around them, which was the recording. What I dream of is, I dream of maybe some of you, maybe some other people who are watching, maybe people who've never heard of Money Club today, who might hear of it because you share it with them, become space holders for these kind of circle councils where we can be in on giving each other possibilities, empowering each other, flowing power beyond our circle, creating a vacuum so that power comes into the circle, making teams. Oh, there's so many possibilities. And what I found when I was experimenting with Money Club before is that once a week was enough for me to think about money, do things about money, and the whole rest of the week, things would just roll. And that's what I want for you. And that's what I want for anybody who wants it for themselves. So thank you so much for coming. And I'm going to end the call now, but I'm available to stay on for another 10 or 15 minutes. So if you have burning questions, we can even talk about that now. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.